This is Holly Beatty, the Joyful Warrior, and this is day 14 of the Shaman and You sneak peek. The Shaman and You is the year-long shaman training program that I am offering beginning January 1st. This is also day 3 of the Death Arrow experience. I'm weaving the Death Arrow experience into the sneak peek because it's what I always do this time of year to prepare for the winter solstice. The first 3 days are really just questions that I ask myself to sit with and to sleep on. So when you experience this process, whether it's now or in the future, it's nice just to allow yourself to begin to percolate with the questions that the death arrow process can generate and help you to find some focus for your reflection building towards the new year. And the new year for the shaman in this cycle, this lineage that really connects with Sun Bear, the beautiful channeler of Dancing with the Wheel, and also with Lynn Andrews' work with the Death Arrow process that has been changed and creatively adapted to the work of myself and also the work of the Rosicrucian path, where we connect with Christ and also the Essenes, mystery schools. So there's a lot of different weavings into this process. It's just my nature to bring the scholarly material in, as well as direct experience and also joy, joy in everything we do. So night is a nice way to begin to talk about soul retrieval, because on the third day, you want to begin to look at each month that you've lived in through the past year, beginning with the December 2nd, the December 22nd, the day after the solstice from last year. So that's the beginning point. And in that moment, there's a deep dive into the soil of our life where we are experiencing the presence both within ourselves and also the presence that we give to one another. It's really the culmination week, that Christmas week, of what has come to fruition. But it's also the time where we have the paradox begin to arise for what we didn't bring to life, what we did not yet see come to fruit that is still having hope within us. So it's a time of reflection. And that's why it's very appropriate to do some New Year's resolution right around that time after Christmas. But for the death arrow, we send our patterns and our behaviors and really we're sending our future that would be repetitive instead of revelatory into nature. We're holding up that which we have discovered that we actually have learned the right to let go of, because we have moved through that learning process and we don't need to go around and round in circles. We can level up. So this process is really nice when we talk about rising towards the New Year's resolutions. They're very much connected, really, and can be one dovetailing into the other in a nice way. A bit more preparation, you could say. So this is the time on the third day where we want to look at last December and January and February, moving through the time of the buffalo season from December 21st to really all the way to March 21st, where the spring equinox arrives. So this is a time that has a nuance to it, a going inward and a percolating. Like when the seed is in the ground, seeds have to actually be in the ground long enough to feel the cold and has to actually arrive at a particular coldness most times to quicken something inside that then can burst through. And this is what's happening underneath the surface for you and me too at this time. If we're allowed to work with the rhythms of natural life. So it's good to think about what was going on for us last year, here, right now, on day 3, at this time of the going within of the buffalo. And then we also want to look at what were we doing from March around the 21st to July around the 21st. Sometimes it varies from day to day by a day or 2 or 3. But going from the spring equinox, which is the eagle season, into the summer of the coyote, summer solstice being around June 21st. Well, that is a time where we want to have already planted our seeds of intention, really with the marking of the summer arriving. We want to make sure we have all of our seeds inside the earth growing. And summer becomes this time of weeding, watering. So there's things that grow and come into our life and arrive and show us that our dreams and our seeds of intention and our activation is working. But then there's this time where we may need to take something out of the process of manifestation, something that we don't need to be a part of that, and add things in, more fertilizer. There's a lot of fertilizer that happens in that summer time where things grow, and then we need to pull out the weeds, the thoughts that aren't working. Summer is a season where it's kind of a hard time. And it's also an amazing time at the same time in terms of the manifestation cycle. So we want to look at what we're doing then. And then from there, we come back to the fall. And the fall is the time where we bring in the harvest. A little at first, the first apples start to fall. And then there's the active harvesting, the collecting. This is usually when we see in the early springs what we really have brought to life. And rising towards Thanksgiving, there's a time when we see all of the raw materials, but we still need to grind the grain and stir the batter and mix the loaf of bread or the pie and put it in the oven and then set the table for the feast. So it's a time that is truly using all that has come to life and seeing how it alchemizes into a more fuller expression of what we've meant to bring, what we've meant to achieve. So this is a cycle of manifestation that's already occurring with the rhythm of the planet as it moves around the sun. and as it spins on its own axis, giving us seasons. It's always nice to just use the natural current of what's happening in the earth, within the sun, within the rhythms of life to surf upon, because they're energies that are already happening. And if we attune ourselves to them, then there's something else greater than us that's doing all the heavy work, all the heavy lifting, all of the etheric energy that's growing something is already naturally occurring, and we're just riding the surf of our intention. And so this is a part of the death arrow process, and it's a part of the shaman training. It's also just been for years and years a part of my life. And I can tell you how magical it is in that, there's a saying, be careful what you wish for. Well, I've discovered that when you have a manifestation intention, something that you want to achieve, something that you want to experience, something that you feel ready for, the source, your highest self, will always bring, at least for me, has always brought to me so much more than I could ever imagine, just using my own mental imagery and ideas of what I want to experience and receive. And I've also seen that work so many times with others that work with me. When we allow ourselves to receive vision, our highest potential, receive the vision for our highest potential or a higher potential than we're currently living, elevating our vibration, the baseline emotion that we're holding, sort of the song that we're singing in the universe. There's a whole unraveling of our life in terms of what we think we're supposed to be doing or achieving, happy with. But then there's something else that arrives, which is this magical chariot that takes us by surprise and brings us to a life where life recognizes life, something that is truly alive within us can see and be seen by that which is truly alive and real within the other and nature. That's really the shaman's dream, to paint with the colors of the wind, to behold the speaking and the whispering that goes unseen, to feel the empowered center of our soul and our body. So on this third day, it's a time of reflection, to consciously reflect on the stages of our growth cycle from the year before, to begin to see if we had any hardships. You probably already know what they are if you had any, but it's a nice time to write them down, or at least to put your mind like a pearl upon them happening, to catch the experiences that you move through, any hardships, any obstacles that you had to overcome, any fears that you move through, that somehow you broke through and experienced something beyond. Most importantly, was there anything that brought you to your knees and brought you to a place of deeper surrendering? And then did you? Did you find the courage to say, okay, I'll listen to you, highest self, spirit that moves me, God, or the angels that are guiding me, or just my heart. Did you get to a place where you decided to listen a little bit more to your heart this year? Did you find yourself being willing to open it a little bit and listen just a little bit more? It's not easy to follow our soul's calling. Our ego wants to be in control of everything. Our idea of who we are wants to push us into who we're not, to prove something. To prove is not to love. To live a life where you are proving that you love is not to love. Surrendering feels like falling and then flying, like jumping and then being caught by something. There's no tension inside. There's only the feeling of wonder and watching and receiving. And if it doesn't feel like that, then there's something else besides God that is guiding you. So this is a time also to ask yourself, where may you have lost your soul a little bit along the way this year, if any? Because where we negotiate our soul for sex, love, money, security, things that we think will bring us a feeling of stability, success, arriving at something, we lose something else. We lose our true security, the security that comes from being connected to the voice inside us that never lies to us, that brings beauty to the surface, that allows our light body to begin to be fashioned in such a way so as to develop our immortality. That's a subject upon which I look forward to talking. Where we have placed our attention that is other than our highest potential and our soul's purpose will bring us to soul loss again and again. So we must have courage to begin to listen. And this cycling helps us do it a little at a time by choosing something from our heart to focus on, to bring to fruition over the course of time, to let time unfold something for us. So we learn that we actually don't need to make anything happen except to make our mind listen. So our purpose is to help our mind learn how to perceive the yes or the no from our soul inside that wants to be our guide. That, by the way, is at the center of shaman training. Shaman training is all about understanding how the soul speaks to the body, to the heart, to the mind, and how the soul shows up in our external lives through magnetism, through the way something calls our attention, to the way that time happens at just the right time. There is no going forward and there is no going backward. There really is just this experience we're having of learning how to be omnipresent all the time, and then letting ourselves be a vessel that steps where we're shown to step at just the right time. And then we receive what we need right then, just as we need it. And if there's nothing blocking it, if there is no malintention from something beyond God's mind and our purpose, then what we experience is an escalator ride through life and the joy and beauty of being held, carried, provided for. It's a secret. Trust is required to have an enchanting life. So, on this third night, please bring your attention to the path that you've journeyed for the year and reflect on whether or not you feel that you may have left your soul someplace along the way. Don't worry, we'll get it back for you. And connect also with some of the activities that you've done throughout the year, where the pain was experienced, where the pleasure may have been experienced. Was there something that came to you through the cycle of the seasons without really even knowing that you were manifesting something? Did something come more to you this year? The question that we're working with, the central question is, what have we earned the right to release? What don't we need to experience again in any flavor so that we can move forward? And how can we do that with all of us here? All of our soul here and our heart open fully so that our spirit can come through us as us and be free. There is no free will. That's a secret that I'd like to share with you this evening. There is no such thing as free will. There isn't. Try doing what you want to do. You can, but you won't feel free. You won't feel free. You can do what you want to do, but you won't feel free. The only way you'll feel free is if you allow the surrendering to take you over and you find a way to feel within your heart what it is that your soul, your highest self, that is you, wants from you, wants to come from you here. And when you give your will over to this higher will and to God's will, as they communicate together, this higher self and God's will, which is working with the will of all and the birthing of humanity so that we can all be free together. When you give your will over to your highest will, then you'll feel free. You may not be able to do what you want to do. I can tell you, it's not about doing what you want to do when you live in surrender. But you will feel free. You will feel free of any bond or any constraint or any prison or any need to prove anything, and you'll feel peace too. So if you're looking to feel peace and joy through and through, and you've always wanted to know what it feels like to be truly free, then find surrender and find how to communicate with the highest self, the shaman in you. And that's what this training is all about. It's not about doing what we want to. It's about doing what we will ourselves to from the place where we can see as the eagle sees. What's coming that we can't see yet. What we're meant to receive. All is happening in an omnipresence but we experience it in an unfolding like the blossoming of a flower. And it feels beautiful, like a massage happening in our body when we can perceive the creation, the creative force that's occurring through us as an experience mixed with other people and processes, systems, and happenings. Beauty, beauty before us and under our feet and behind us and with all that we meet. So reflect tonight as you're dreaming on the year that's gone by. Until next time, this is Holly, the Joyful Warrior. I'm having fun with this process. I hope you are too. I'll see you next time.